What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Sensible Solutions Coaching Podcast, episode 12. With you, as always, is Trey Bruffy, Austin Stout, Jeffrey Sue.
Mhm.
Eric is with us in spirit. Jeff, if you want to talk about why he's not here, but he's with us in spirit.
Yeah. So I got a text from Eric earlier today saying that he fell down some stairs last night and broke his leg. And it's awful timing because, we had just come off a health phase and he was really excited about going to the new year. I'd worked on a new training split for him for nationals later on this in 2026. And we were just gearing up for that. And then boom, all of a sudden, he was out. He slipped on some ice, and I think according to his text to me, he's in a boot, and he fractured the mid-fibular shaft of his calf, and I think it's like I think it's his right leg. Um, so it just sucks because like we just trained legs with Jose yesterday, and he was all like excited for off season and now this, but that's life, just like fucks you out of nowhere. So yeah, he's not here. But I guess I'll just talk about since I'm talking, I'll just talk about my last couple of weeks and I don't know, I took a couple of weeks off from coaching. Um the week of Christmas and then this week actually I'm not doing any check-ins, just a lot of back end stuff, moving things over to the new year and a lot of social media work. But yeah, the last couple weeks have been, pretty quiet, I would say. I can say that I didn't sign a single client in December after a flurry of people coming in October and November. And part of me is like, that's not good. But the calm part of me is like, you need the break. So, it'll balance out. But that's where I'm
Yeah.
at. But other than that, life is good. Oh, I also had one of my rats died. I don't know if
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that was recent. That was kind of sad. He had cancer in his lungs, like tumors or something, and it was rather quick. And yeah, it was actually very saddening to me. Like I didn't think that I would feel so emotional about a pet rat, but I really connected with them. So there's one more left, and I'm hoping to get, some younger rats so that this guy can have company, but we'll see about that. That's it.
That's pretty eventful.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, realistically, and Eric isn't you, but there's indirectly, right? That's kind of,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, if
So,
any of us are under stress, like, we feel it because we're just so like closely
yeah,
tied
sure,
together, as friends and business partners and
for sure.
my clients still. So yeah, it's a lot.
How was your Christmas, Trey?
It was good. I took off. Today's my first day back. I took the last, I don't know, 23rd through today. And then I'll do a half day on Thursday. I still trained all last week, but I took at least online, like took a break from everyone. So it wasn't bad. We still had some signups. December's usually a bad month for me, but it was actually like a really good month, surprisingly. Um, and then my mom was here for a couple of days. I hadn't seen or actually talked to her, my sister, in 3 years. So
Wow.
there's a lot of heavy unloading. I am looking forward to go to counseling this week. It was a good trip. I would say like I can see how much I have grown through how much counseling I've been doing the last 3 or so years. I can see where maybe I look back frustrated that I just ghosted my family those 3 years versus actually talking and figuring some things out. But I need that time for me. But
Mhm.
I'm also looking forward to see maybe what turns out with that. So that's all that's been going on. It was just nice to connect, nice to just have her and my sister up here. Um, just spend time with Valerie and not have to work the whole time.
Nice. That's good. I like to hear that.
Yeah. Yeah, the counseling thing's interesting because then too, when you visit family, you can also understand how so much of you is a reflection of them, like where you grew up and how you grew up and how you were raised and all that.
Yeah.
And discovered a lot of that myself for sure. But
I
my
think for
Chris,
me that was like the thing is like Austin, obviously, like I ran away from home and just came to Ohio to figure out things, make a lot of mistakes, and figure out from there. So I think like the counseling's helped, but I think being back around family and seeing things, it's helped me and Valerie reflect on how we want to raise our family. We're praying that this is our last Christmas where it's just us, that we actually have a child here and do that. So I agree. Like it's always it was interesting to talk about some of the stories and hear my mom talk about some of the stories and Valerie here, and she's like, yeah, this is why you were so fucked up.
yep, that is how it goes.
Yeah.
Yep. Um, we had a pretty chill Christmas. We didn't really have any stops per se this year. I visited my parents for a little bit, but historically we had Christmas here on Christmas Eve for family. That just didn't work out this year, so it was fairly calm. A lot of people, of course, weren't really checking in around the end, like mid to end of last week anyhow. So by default, those were pretty much the last like, you know, almost week was pretty much off. Had some miscellaneous stuff. Jeff, kind of like yourself, I caught up on a lot of like miscellaneous stuff and December was decent, I think, for yeah, it was decent. Um December historically is always kind of funky, but yeah, it wasn't bad. I don't think it was bad. But like we talked about before the show, none of us really get like a large January influx necessarily. So
No.
there's not, it's very difficult to, I'm doing this so long, like you would think you would find a pretty definitive pattern, but it's just not the case because there's definitely some things that are fairly consistent, but every year, like, okay, well, that was a little different, or that was a little different, or why did that happen? We talked about what a couple months ago when a lot of us had a little bit of a lull. We're like, well, what is going on? And
Mhm.
then fall, I guess maybe kids going back to school. I don't know. Then it picked way back up. Like Jeff, you said you were crazy busy.
Yeah, yeah.
And but I think at the end of the day, the one thing I've definitely learned is that you just have to trust what you're doing. Like you just have to think like, okay, well, November was fine. So just because December maybe was a little slow or whatever it is, it's like I didn't start doing something different, right? It's like the client that has the 3 pound weight fluctuation in one day. It's like, well, did we change anything? No.
Right.
Okay. Right. Or if you're consistently having bad months, then maybe you do need to change something. But yeah, but
Yeah.
it was pretty calm.
Well, I think this whole year's been different. I mean, I can at least say
Yes.
me, like I couldn't
Yep.
find any trends. It was a lot of this, whereas like, but I guess it's also a little bit different for me because like the first year being home full time is a big jump, and the second year it was almost double. And the
Mm.
third year I was kind of expecting, okay, it happened again, but then this year was just very weird. Like usually there's certain key months I know are gonna be crappy months, but they weren't this year. But then the months that are usually really good were absolutely dreadful. Like that fall time was terrible. Like I don't know what it was at end of summer, early fall. I
Mm.
would I would tell Valerie, I'm like, I don't know what the heck is going on. Nothing has changed. Like, and I don't know how much of it is like the state of the world, economy, or chaos. I really couldn't figure it out. But I think also for me, like I moved a lot of my clients that were paying fulls to monthly
Mm.
because I got tired of chasing the payments. I just like, you know what, we're just gonna put you on a monthly recurring and just let it go.
Mm.
Which is also probably why I saw a little bit of a different pay structure certain months than I normally
Yeah.
would.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I
So
mean, I guess for all of us, we've been all in business for several years. So, that's why whenever I have like a bad like micro moment, I just kind of try to zoom out and look at the big picture. And I'm just like, oh, I've been doing this for well over a decade now, and every year is just a little bit better. So
Yeah.
that's it.
Well, think about how many of us are actually left. Like, if you were to look back at like
Yeah.
the Geared Up forum, like on
Mm,
Facebook or the RX Muscle or Pro Muscle, think about how many actual coaches are still doing it and
yeah.
are still somewhat successful. And successful meaning they're able to provide, put away. I don't mean billionaire successful, but they're still doing it and they're not having to pad their income with other things. There's very few of us that are actually left. Most of the ones that are not here now,
Yeah.
they didn't come around until like the last 4 to 5 years. They are
That's true.
newer. I
That's
don't think
true.
there's many that I know of, at least like Austin when you and I met, or like when I would see Jeff and like get
There's a
up
pretty,
forums and stuff
yeah.
that are actually still around. There's very few
Yeah.
left.
Yeah, a handful, not a lot, but yeah, a
Yeah.
handful. But that also goes to show you like what reputation can do for you, either good or bad, over a
Mm,
period of X amount of years. It's like one of those things where um, there's like a critical threshold there, right? It's like in the book Atomic Habits, if you guys ever seen that book, where he talks about like you don't always notice your work until you reach the critical threshold, and then everything starts to happen pretty quickly after that. And I kind of look at that like reputation and referrals are very much that. You can't really rely on that as a means of client acquisition at the beginning, not solely because you don't really have the network for referrals. But man, if you've touched the lives of 100 people, 200 people, 500 people, over the course of X amount of years, like, dude, it's a pretty big it's
Yeah.
a pretty big referral system, right? Like just
right.
one person thinking of you just in a passing conversation with a friend or colleague or something, every once in a while, like one person thinking of you. I mean, man, you're going to get referrals, referrals, referrals. It'll happen. It's
Mm,
just that kind of thing takes a long time. Or it could go the complete opposite direction where you've just kind of been a jerk to people. And when they do leave, your closing conversations are abrasive. And, it's like, then you don't get any referrals. Yeah, right. But it's different. It's definitely different. The social media is a lot different. I think the biggest difference is just people's what people are looking for and attracted to in their attention spans. And I think about this so much. I think about what I used to put out there
mm,
and what got a lot of traction. And now you people don't even bat an eye at certain things because they're so desensitized. Like everyone is so damn desensitized that what it takes to kind of get a response from the audience is different.
mm. Yeah, I think about all this stuff a lot, honestly. I don't know if we should talk about this stuff today or are we talked
Well,
about what?
we'll go back to your idea was more of goal setting,
Yeah.
which
But
I
we
think
can
is a
also
great.
talk about how like things have changed in the industry, social media wise and business and marketing too. I mean, we're kind of like going, with the flow here today. So what do you guys think?
Yeah,
Fine,
that's
whatever. Yeah.
yeah.
I'd
Uh,
like to stick with this topic actually. I feel
yeah,
kind of like hot on this.
feel inspired.
Yeah, I feel inspired,
Okay.
especially with the last 4 months. What I've been doing, I've never invested in any sort of, program or mentorship or anything like that. And, I'm seeing things a lot differently now that I've been through it. So I could share that experience too, you
I'm
know?
curious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in general, though, I think this conversation might be interesting to our clients and, other coaches listening to it as well. But there's definitely, what I would call, or what a lot of people, other people have labeled a trust recession going on in the industry, where everyone is, the industry is overly saturated with people, trying to become a coach, right? And it's getting harder and harder to differentiate between offers and who's good and who's pretending. And AI coming into play and its rapid adoption is making that distinction even harder for clients. And so there's a lot of decision fatigue. There's inability to make a decision. There's a lot of buyer's remorse going on and a lot of distrust. And so a lot of marketing messaging is getting lost in that. And also by the time they come to you, if they do, you're fighting an uphill battle of a lot of opinions that have already been preloaded into their mind so that you can't coach from a clean slate. And that's the challenge that I've seen, at least on my
Yeah.
end.
100%.
I
Yeah.
feel like it's a lot of it's like retraining them. Like I'll have to, I'm not big into the drama, but I've been having to find like that person's just blatantly wrong. I'm sorry to say that to you, but they're just wrong.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a lot of it's going back to basics, but a lot of it's like it's almost like you're re-educating them before they even become a client. You know what I mean? Whereas normally when they're a client, you're educating them as you go, but it's almost like to get them in, to get them to stop all the nonsense they're seeing on the internet or what other practitioner or coach or whatever is telling them. I'm almost having to reframe and re-educate them in that call or in those initial conversation before we even get a
Right.
chance to say what is even involved in our coaching. It's to stop everything at the front door, redo it, everything, reintroduce each other. Then we go into that conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, like the intake process is so much the if you looked at the what you're spending time on in the intake process now versus even just 5 years ago, it's crazy, dude. It's so much different because I never thought that there would be a time where I'd be spending less time on the intake process talking about how we can actually accomplish their goal from a programming standpoint compared to like Jeff said and like Trey said, sifting through all these concerns
Mhm.
and lack of trust and all this stuff that they're dealing with. It's like, man,
Right.
we have all these walls to break down before even getting into the actual programming portion, right? And then you
Right.
realize the actual programming portion, now that we've all been doing it for a while, is actually the easiest part if we can get them to do it.
Yeah.
Like it's not even finding the solution is not necessarily even difficult. It's really like relating the material that has
Mhm.
become difficult, right?
Yep.
Figuring out a way to
Yeah.
relate the material um, has become quite a science in and of itself.
It's sort of flipped everything on its head because like you said, Austin, like before, like on a console, it's like we're the subject matter experts, and then usually like you can just like blow someone's mind with like some of the most simple stuff, and then they're like, wow, I want to sign up with you because you know what you're doing. But now the clients are coming in thinking that they know just as much as you do or more than you do, and it's about alignment and about likability and trusting you, you know? So your conversation almost has to be focused on getting them to like you and getting them to trust you, information aside, process aside. And it's a completely different feel to have to focus on that.
Yeah, and luckily, I think again, luckily for us, we have 50% of that accomplished because they probably already know that we know the material,
Right,
right?
right,
So it's like, okay, well, we do have a leg up on some people,
right.
but the trust portion, and you and probably even have a leg up on the trust portion as well, just because of being here long enough. But
Hmm.
it is still a lot more difficult. And now on the flip side, a positive is the pool is a lot bigger. The client pool is a lot bigger because
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people they look at this saturation, but that's a little bit short-sighted because at the same time, most of the people that are coming in and are new coaches are also clients, right? They're also working with coaches themselves. So I would say the pool of clients, like supply and demand, is still not totally, it's still in the favor of the coach if you do a good job, right? If you're good at
Yeah.
your job, you're still okay, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you guys have seen, I've been running, ads on Meta lately, which is something that, I've never done before, right? I just started doing that maybe 3 months ago. And I was shocked at the number of people like cold leads that come in that people have no idea what online coaching is. They're like, what do you do? Like, what is this? You know? And so there's this like whole like market of people that aren't like they're not problem aware as the industry labels them. Like they don't know that they have a problem, right? And then there's people who don't know they have a problem, and there's also people who don't know that there's a solution to that problem, you know? So there's steps to that, and they call that like the buyer's journey or the sales funnel, right? So you're problem aware, solution aware. And a lot of people are neither. Like, you know?
So
So it's a
this
huge market.
brings up an interesting thought, and maybe you guys can chime in on this. Something I was thinking about recently is like demographics that we're targeting. So
Mm,
Jeff, to your point, you said two really important things. One is there's this crowd of people that doesn't even know what online coaching is and doesn't know there's a whole industry of people out there that can help them fix things that they maybe don't even know that they have.
right.
Right? There's like this alternative to Western medicine, this holistic approach, like whatever it is, right?
Yep.
But then there's this other crowd that's really niche down in the fitness industry already that think they know everything. So maybe a lot of people are just marketing to the wrong people. Like maybe they're having a harder time because they're so focused on I want the most educated, experienced client to work
Mm,
with. I'm like, do you? Maybe you don't. Maybe you actually want someone that's fairly inexperienced, that's fresh, that's malleable, right? It's
yeah.
like, yeah, there's going to be holes in that game, right? Like there's going to be holes there and
Yep.
it's going to be difficult in some ways, but it's just it's like saying, man, it's like I want the quarterback that has 15 years of experience. It's like, okay, well, he also has two bum shoulders and a torn ACL, and it's like, eesh, right? But if you get someone that's fresh in there that maybe you're gonna have to do a little more work on the front end. But I know personally, I've been really just leaning into the Gen Pop people as much as they want to come to me, right? It's like if
Mm,
I have no issue with that whatsoever. Um, I think the more experienced people are kind of a pain in the ass a lot of the
Mm.
time, if I'm
I
being
would
yeah.
honest.
argue like I prefer the people that have no clue what is going on. They don't even know you should go to the bathroom every day because then I can reinforce the new habits. Versus
Right.
if I have someone that's been with 30 coaches and they're a coach and they're all like they know more than all of us put together because their brain's an encyclopedia, then I've got to retrain all these habits and break all these bad habits. It's easier to break bad habits that they've learned on their own than it is to break crappy habits that have been passed down by other coaches, practitioners, or what they're seeing on social media. It's so much easier to
Yep.
go about that. Like I'm
Yeah.
100% on board with that.
Yep.
Absolutely. You make a really good point, Trey, because then you're like, your opinion is conflicting with other quote unquote expert opinion that's already been stored in their psyche. And then it's a clash. It's because like you don't want, because the reason why it's so hard is because for them to admit that you're right is the same for them to admit that they were tricked and they were foolish to
Yeah.
believe the prior piece of
Yeah.
information
Like
that they've adopted.
Yep.
I'll give you an example. Like, there's a guy in Scotland I've worked with for over a year now, and he initially did a consult with Austin. They got as far as they could, and Austin said, "Listen, you need coaching."
Hmm.
He told him firsthand, "Trey is going to do everything very different than what I've already done."
Hmm.
And that was the first initial conversation. He was like, "Well, was he wrong?" Like, no, no one's wrong. We just have two different styles. He did what was necessary for this. I'm telling you, I am going about it a different approach.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's always uncomfortable, especially when you're working with people that have worked with maybe one of you guys or Kenneth or a colleague that you do trust and feel is good at their job. It's that we all do something different and it's never to poo-poo on them. It's just like, listen, we all have our own style. So I always prefer getting the newbies that have absolutely no clue. It's the same thing with like bodybuilders. Would I rather have an IFBB pro or would I rather have someone that's the first time they want to do in their first show? I'm going to take the first show guy all day long because I can teach them what we need to do. And then I don't have to hear, hey, is it time to up our trend? Is it time to take more halo? Is it time to do this? Wait, you didn't cut my water yet. So like, what am I supposed to do with my Lasix and everything else? It's like, listen, we're not going to do all that. It's the same thing on the functional side. It's like, what do you mean I don't need to do my flush or I don't need to do uh 8 month long autophagy phase of fasting? You're saying I don't need this? Like, is this person wrong? It's like, no, it's just it's not necessary. So it's so much easier when you have these absolute beginners. that literally have no clue what is right, what is wrong. They literally have only been raised to eat McDonald's and nothing else. And then all you have to do is do one little domino flip and then just build from there. It's almost like you're getting a newborn child. You're teaching them how to do everything versus I would argue, Austin, you'd be a good example. If you use your boys, it would have been easier to raise them as childs than to reshape new
Correct.
habits at 16, 18 years old because they've already developed it. They already have their frame of thought. Whereas now you're reteaching them, maybe here's a better way of doing it. It's just a lot more fight back or kickback between each other, trying to get them to see the more positive things or things they didn't realize could be helpful.
Yeah, it's I've had to really, again, like I've had to really think about who it is I'm trying to attract
Mm.
in this sea of clients, and who it is that I want to take on when they do inquire with me. Again, we're all in a little bit different situation. Like if we absolutely want to say no to someone, we can, right? Like it's not, we're not going to be on the street tomorrow if we do,
Mhm.
right? So that's great. And not everyone has that luxury. Like there are people, when you're building your business, like you need to take whatever comes through the door for a period of time to build that roster and to make sure that you have a steady income. Like that's just how it is. You
Yeah.
know, you could say like, well, my ideal client, I'm like, I don't give a shit who your ideal client is when you have none. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't, and again, we've all been there at
Yeah.
some point. We probably just took everyone at the
Yeah.
beginning,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. But this is a, you know, now, especially now more than ever, and maybe it's just because I have like some low key PTSD in my unconscious dealing with clients, but I'm just very skeptical and cautious. And it's like when you're analyzing the new person and you're going through that process as like, what am I actually getting myself into?
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
and there was never a time in my career that I was like that before. Before it was like, ooh, new client, that's exciting. How can I help this person? And I still do that, but now it's like, all right, 23 steps back. I need to really look and see like who is this person? What have they dealt with? Who have they worked with? You know, and I never thought there would be a time where I'd have to do that. Like, but now I'm like half scared half the time, like, oh shit. This is gonna be a pain in the ass.
Yeah, there are a lot of very clear signs, how they speak about their prior coach, what sort of programs that they've been through, whether they're low ticket or high ticket, tells a lot about their commitment level, their resources, and things like that. Um, their boundaries with you. Are they someone that, sends you a flurry of questions on like a Saturday night? It's like what are you doing that on a Saturday night that you're sitting around being concerned about this stuff rather than, being out living your life with your husband,
Right.
your wife, or your kids or whatever?
Right.
So a lot of that it gives you like a crystal clear image of what is going on within them and what type of person they are, and then you just gotta respond accordingly. I had a couple like that thankfully they were they only came on for like 3 months, and I was just like, yeah, time's up. I wish you well. So
It's yeah, you brought up a great point there. There's all these little subtle things that you probably don't realize early on in coaching, like when someone reaches out to you and what they're asking you when they reach out to you. If
mhm.
you're getting an email, and again, you might not be answering it because maybe you're already asleep, right? But the
Yeah,
next morning you read it and you're like, at 1:30 a.m., they asked me about just like something completely nuanced that's probably useless. Like, is that what they're thinking it about at 1:30 in the
yeah, yeah,
red flag immediate? It's like it seems very innocent, right? Because in your
yeah,
mind you think, I just won't answer that message at 1:30 in the morning because I'm sleeping, and
right,
that's fine. But you got to look way below the surface on that. You got to look much deeper on that email and on that question. Like, well, what does that mean? To your point, Jeff, like, why are they sending that to me at, you know, on Christmas at, I don't know, 10 o'clock in the morning? Like,
yeah, yeah,
what are they doing? What should they be doing?
right. That's
instead.
exactly it.
Right. Um, and and again, like there was never a time, and I'll be honest, I, I don't really particularly like all of it. I really, and this is just the nostalgia maybe, but a lot of days I really wish it was kind of like it was before. You know
Yes.
what I mean? And it's hard. And a lot of people don't know what it was like before. They have no idea because they're just here now.
No.
It's really difficult to navigate a lot of this stuff knowing what it used to be like.
Well, the clients are different because the coaches are different too.
Right.
Um, Nowadays, yeah, I mean, like we all had I think we all had like a very hardcore passion, to serve ourselves in terms of just like pure enjoyment, when it came to fitness, or we each had like our own like health struggles, that we overcame through coaching. And we saw the value in that and aspired to do that for other people as well. Um, Nowadays, a lot of the younger coaches that I've come across, at least, and this is like the majority of them, unfortunately, they view this as a money-making machine. If they weren't doing like Amazon drop shipping, they're going to do coaching, course creation, things like that, so they can scale and, make, 100K a month. The X number of dollars per month mentality is is what drives people to go into coaching. It's like the physique comes after the money.
And it's crazy because this is a client facing business. If that's all you cared about, then stick to something that's a quantity model. Sell clothes. I don't know, like
Yeah.
start a clothing brand or drop ship, right? Like,
Yeah.
dude, if you were a complete dickhead, if someone was a drop shipper and I really liked the piece of clothing that they had and I wanted to buy it and I didn't know anything about their personality, I'd probably still buy it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't really have any bearing on my life. You know what I mean? But that's not what coaching is, man.
No.
That's not what it should be about. Now, on the flip side of that, we also at some point, and maybe you guys, and I know you guys can attest to this, at some point there was the more is better model of communication.
Right.
And they're like, the more access, the better, right? That's how I'm going to sell my coaching. I'm going to give people the most access possible. And
Mhm.
that's what makes me stand out
Yeah.
from everyone else, right? That's the, they're going to get whatever they want. Like this was before people realize, okay, well, we can have tiers and we can kind of like, we
Yeah.
can, sell this in different ways.
Yeah.
But then that also went a little bit too far, in my opinion, because I think people started to realize, and Trey and we've talked about this. There's a lot of people that want these higher tiers of communication that don't really need higher tiers of communication. They just want to talk to you.
Yeah.
And that might be fine. Like if you're okay with that, that's totally fine. But you also realize that a lot of this is just enabling poor behaviors of them not being able to just sit and do what they need to do.
I
Right.
mean,
Correct.
that's why, like, probably the last 6 months, I changed my model. I don't offer the texting to anyone. If you're currently on it, you have it, and that's fine. But now I just offer the texting to certain individuals I'm fine that I know they're not going to break boundaries or they're not wanting to be pen pal. It might be like, hey, shoot me a video or this and that, or maybe their competitor. Because
Yeah.
I fell in that trap where everybody had my phone number and everyone was texting me. Then I fell into the trap of, okay, I'm gonna charge more for this. Then they'd pay for it. Some would use it, some wouldn't. Then I would hear, oh, well, I pay you this much money to talk to you all the time. And it's like, no, that's not really what it's meant to be. It's supposed to be as needed. These are still the business hours. So like what I did the last, yeah, probably 6 months, I stopped offering the texting altogether. I offer like a monthly or biweekly phone call if someone absolutely wants to pay for that.
Right.
And I told everyone if you're a check-in, if it's a check-in, you'll get a response within 24 hours of when I start them at around 2 in the afternoon on a Monday or a Friday.
Hmm.
So you'll get back by them. All of their messages, it's going to take 24 to 72 hours because there's nothing else that you could possibly need me for within that. Now, if you're in prep or if you're in a peak week, that is a totally different thing. Everyone else,
Hmm.
you're going to be fine. Like you don't need to hear from me every 5 seconds. And if I'm your only friend, we've got a bigger problem because that's not why we got into this. I'm actually very big on I don't like to become close friends with my clients because guess what? When they stop using you, it creates a rift, or they will come to you to talk to you as a friend, and then they message you on say WhatsApp, and I have to specify this to clients. I'm gonna listen. If you are a friend of mine, I work with you. You need to personally text me, not email me or WhatsApp me or social media me, because you're gonna get a coach tray. You're not gonna get a friend tray that's actually listening to you and hearing you out. You're gonna be talking to the fixer. And that is one of the reasons why I took away all of that is because I couldn't put up with 60 or so people emailing or not emailing, texting all the time and having to do a phone call all the time or having all these crazy hours. One, it's really hard to do, but also it's really hard on a marriage or if you're trying to have a family to be on your phone all the freaking time.
Yeah.
And it's honestly demoralizing. Yeah, I would wake up some days, I'm like, I just don't want to get out of bed right now. Or I'd wake up still getting things in my eyes trying to open, or I'd be brushing my teeth or getting ready to get in the shower, trying to answer emails or text messages like, okay, this person's paying for this tea. I gotta get back to them right now. And it honestly made me hate coaching with a passion. It made me like despise wanting to do it.
I feel that a lot, Trey. It made me feel, you know what it made me feel like is like an emotional prostitute. That's what it made me feel like. That I had to just like be so like just empathetic and like responding to, and like these conversations weren't even about coaching. It was about like, oh, I might like ask my husband for a divorce. What do you think? I
Yeah, it's
was
about
like,
their life.
I was like,
It's stuff that
what?
none of us are trained to do.
Yeah, I was like, I can't answer that question. I'm sorry. Or like they're asking me questions about their kids, like, should they be homeschooled or should they be this? And I was just like, I don't know, like so it's tough, it's really tough. But like what I've noticed is like I offer the texting and the phone calls too. And I charged more for it. But I realized and I noticed this that like once like that initial health anxiety like calmed down, they never used the texting to
100%.
communicate anything about coaching.
Yep.
It was just because they were lonely, they
Right.
needed that
Yeah, my point.
support.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was it.
Yes.
So, do I have that as part of my programs now? No, I don't. I have just emails,
Yeah.
you know?
You know, and I put again, this is going back to thinking about what did we used to do.
Yeah.
And there was part of me that when people were asking those questions and those scenarios, like the relationship stuff, one, we're not therapists. That's not our job. That's personal stuff. But two, the other part of you feels somewhat obligated because okay, well, they're really stressed. So we know
Yeah.
that's going to affect how that's going to translate into coaching.
Right.
Okay, so I thought about this and I thought, what's the likelihood that when I was coaching back in 2015 or even before 2010, people weren't talking to me about this stuff, but everyone still had lives and it was still going on. So, how were these people getting results back then, even though they weren't telling me about? Now, granted, sometimes things would come up, right? Like serious stuff, like, hey, I'm going to miss my check in today because I got to, do whatever. But then I thought, well, why? Why is that change? Like, why do people feel the need to divulge all of that stuff and go and do that now when we were able to get people results for 5, 10 plus years without having those conversations? Like, so what's the difference? And again, I think it's a lot of things. I don't think there's one thing. I think it's access. I think that's ease of access. I think it's the what people have made it seem like on social media, like what coaching should be. They
Hmm.
have this idea of like what coaching should be, and that goes down to like the service and the connect and the human connection. And this is difficult because I do thoroughly believe that human connection is the way of the future for these businesses, because I think again
Yeah.
that is going to be hugely important. If you're automating everything, there's going to be some people will be successful at that, but there's going to be a lot of people that are going to crash and burn doing it. Um, but where's the right? Like,
Where's the line? Yeah. It- yeah,
it's very
this
difficult.
is really interesting now because a lot of times, like we just talked about, it's not really about what you know, right? Everyone almost knows the exact same stuff, especially with ChatGPT and AI. Clients can find this information on their own too. They can't put it together most of the time, right? So on social media, a lot of, at least like what I've seen, coaches are being encouraged to, beat the trust recession and operate, on that know, like, and trust model where clients need to know you, they need to like you, they need to trust you. And so you focus your content on that by showing your personality, your life, your vibe, right? And so they come to you, but that creates, inevitably this parasocial relationship where they think they know you because you're opening up your life, like you're sharing like your dinner with your spouse, or hey, I'm on vacation, guys, and this is how I, travel and blah, 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 And so if you do all that, yeah, it works, but it also opens up the door to this as well. So it's like, I don't know the answer to it. It's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like if you just put out educational content, people don't want to work with you. Because they might trust you, but they don't like you. They don't know who you are, aside from the whiteboard stuff, that I do sometimes, right? So it's
Yeah,
like I don't know.
yeah. I
Well, this is why I swear, like you have to keep. That's why I keep doing the in-person training. Is like 100% that personal connection. Like one of my highest paying in-person clients, I've tried to get him to go to online and he refuses. He's like, I like this personal contact. I like to actually go. And he's like, I do not know how you're successful with online because I could easily just lie to you every week and say I'm following the plan. I could easily just say, F it, just charge me and don't check in because I have people like that. And so
Yeah.
that's what I've been trying to find is that middle ground. But I pulled up something real quick because like Austin, made a good point. Like, when did check-ins change? Like I pulled up a check-in I sent to you May 9th, 2017.
from you to me.
Yeah, me to you.
Okay.
And it's
Yeah.
literally just, here you go, week 14. Train's going good, reps increasing, got to this rep range, blah, blah, blah. Nutrition on point, get all the foods in, no digestive issues. Cardio been removed, supplements third week on XYZ. Pictures, here's before and after. Your response. Another solid week, don't change anything. Have a good week. I mean, because it was that simple. And like there was even in there, I talked about some stress I had going on there.
I
But it
usually write more than that, but that
Yeah, but you
probably
know what I mean? Like there wasn't even in those check-ins where I would drop stressful stuff, it was never your job to fix that. And I always have felt that way. It's never our job to fix it. So it's very interesting when I go through like my check-ins that I used to send to you or other coaches, or check-ins I would get from people all the way back in like 2012, 2013. It literally was like, wait, that feedback, photos, see you later. They might say, hey, I had a rough week. And I said, that was tough. There was no getting into the weeds of it. And it's literally been since probably, I would say post shutdown is when everybody started divulging. But I also think it's because so much people are talking about mental health, talking about how much that relates to everything. And that's why we're seeing it. And I'm like you, Jeff, like what is the middle ground? Like I keep doing the in-person training to keep that in-person connection because I do think that is going to be key. But it's also like you're limited on time, you're limited on the amount of people you can work with. You've got to charge enough to make that work. But then also, what's enough that you're giving them enough feedback without getting too deep? Because what I frankly do now is I just say, well, sorry to hear that's tough. My wife and I are praying for you and whatever going on. I might pop in a link, check out this article, read this book, listen to this podcast, or maybe I send a video I've recorded for him or something like that. And that's kind of where I've been leaving it. And it's been better where I'm not having people divulge
have
things.
to.
But still, like,
Yeah.
I'm like you guys, what is the middle ground?
Not everyone's like that though, because I
Yeah,
have
no, it's
I
not
have a
everyone.
fair amount of people too. And again, I don't know if this is because of something I'm doing from the way like a marketing standpoint, but I have a fair amount of people too who are very conscious of this stuff. Like they're very conscious of like, hey, do respect your time. So, or if they do divulge something, they're very aware of what they're saying and how much. So they're basically all they're saying to me is that this is happening and I'm telling you because it's affecting my stress and it's affecting my adherence, but I'm not actually asking you to do anything about it.
Yeah.
That's not what they're saying directly, but that's kind of what they're getting at, right? but it's very much in the wording, right? Like people can tell you, they can divulge things that are clearly stressful and impact their results without like acting like you should be doing something about it,
Mhm.
right? Like there's a definitely, it's very much in the way that you're presenting the information. And I don't know if, I think age has to do with it. I think it's a generational thing. I also think that I would have thought, honestly, as many of my clients are coaches, I would have thought that being a coach would have helped create more awareness around that. That's not true
Right.
at all, actually. In fact, and again, I'm not talking about anyone in particular, but I think that my clients that are again are blank slate or a little more blank slate Gen Pop type clients are the best overall, or newer competitors, right? But yeah, it's a weird al- like alternate universe we're kind of stuck in right now. And I'm doing a lot of what you're doing, Trey, is I'm just basically backpedaling my steps back where I'm like cutting off these conversations where I think they need to be cut off. And I'm noticing slowly over time, it's slowly but surely getting better, right?
It's almost like I'll
Process.
politely call it out in a
Yeah.
very professional manner. I'm like, hey, let's really try to reframe this here. And then all of a sudden I won't hear it brought up anymore or as
Right.
much. And all of a sudden they start making progress. I'm like, okay, cool. We've lightly nipped that in the bud. But you made a good point where you're saying like some of these people aren't asking for help. And I almost wonder, Jeff, I think you're like this. I almost wonder if you and I are one and we're just wanting to help everybody, that we almost take that role voluntarily
Oh, sure.
versus just reading it. Because Valerie will look at a check-in. Because I've had some tough ones over the years where I'm just like buckling up. I've got a helmet on, I'm bracing, I've got to open this email because I know it's gonna be super stressful. That I will have her read it and she'll come in here with me while I'm reading it. And she's like, listen, like they have this going in, but they're literally just divulging what is going on. They're not asking you for help. So don't go in there when you open this email expecting you need to fix it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Go
that's
on,
true.
keep telling them you're going to pray for them. It's tough. Give them some resources they can do. That, at least with me, I think that was part of my problem the last year or so,
Mhm.
Jeff, when you and I were mentoring, where that's what I was doing. I was like, okay, I got to fix this person because if they don't fix this, I'm not going to get the result I'm wanting them to get. So I
Yeah.
think part of that has been Valerie helping me reframe my thoughts that, like, hey, they're just saying what's going on in life. They're not saying, my husband's cheating on me or I got a divorce. Can you help me? They're just saying, hey, this is the stress that is going on in my life. I just want you to be aware of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I've got to reframe my thought process of what I should do going into that response to that individual.
For sure.
Yeah. I
Yep.
mean, in terms of just like our own mental health and longevity, I mean, some of these clients can be like little like Tasmanian devils coming in, like, causing a stir, like a little storm, leaving your life a wreck, leaving you emotionally distraught and mentally disorganized after interaction with them. And then they're off, like, causing a storm somewhere else, or their storm stops and they're calm and everything's good now, but then you're the one that's left holding the pieces. And I felt that way so many times that I don't include any personal types of questions in my check-ins anymore. I used to ask questions like, what's stressing you out this week, or whatever. I don't ask any of that stuff anymore. My
Yep.
questions are literally like, did you follow the meal plan? Did you complete your training sessions? Did you complete your cardio? Yes or no? That's it. And it's just very like black and white. I think I changed a lot with my business this last quarter. And I think like one thing that just kind of sealed the deal for me was like I had a recent client once, she's no longer with me now. I don't think she'll listen to this anyway, but I don't really care. She called me at 10 o'clock on like a Friday night, crying because she came home and apparently her boyfriend tried to kill himself and she didn't know what to do, and she called me. I was just like, listen, I don't know what to tell you. I think you might need to call the cops or something, or like get them help or whatever. But like, I can't do this. I don't know what to tell you. And the fact that like this person thought it was okay to call me at 10 something at night on a Friday to divulge this, that just says so much about boundaries and what I've allowed and the state of just people in general in the world. It's tough out there.
It's partially, I'll admit, it's partially our own fault too. Like
Yeah.
it's partially our fault because for we want to help everyone at all costs and at
Yeah,
even the
I
cost
do.
of our own mental health, right? So we're all relearning how to do this. Like this stuff we're talking about, we're trying to figure it out too. We're trying to figure out like how do we draw the boundaries? But it's not only our fault. It's also like a societal thing. It's also an industry thing. It's because I still wanted to help everyone 10 years ago, but I didn't have all those damn problems.
Well,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
the society's changed so much. I mean,
That's
social media, people are just like ever more connected, but even more lonely. And like people's relationships are falling apart. There are young people that are having relationships with AI, like girlfriends or whatever. Like, what the hell? Like, I
I
just,
I probably and I know it's a problem when I have a lot more boundaries now than I used to, but yet am dealing with more of the types of issues that we're talking about
Yes.
despite having more boundaries. Now,
Yes.
granted, it's improving. I'm figuring some things out and I'm working through it to improve it. But man, it's an uphill battle. We're fighting against like such a huge issue because the only other thing you can do is just not have any clients because man, you can't weed it all out.
yeah, I mean, shit's gonna happen, but it's like these boundaries never needed to be created before because
That's
people
it.
just knew not to
Correct.
do certain things. It's like nowadays you need to have a label that says don't eat the Tide Pods. Or it's like, the coffee is hot. Be careful. Like,
Well, like I haven't, like I've had to set boundaries with females. Like now, my intake form, it says this is your required attire to check in. No more
yeah,
of this. And I put in bold and highlight it. Please do this out of respect for my wife and I. And
yeah,
I'm very transparent with all of that. That I would agree, Austin. Like I feel like I've been setting more boundaries, but it's not overnight easy. It's like something I think we'll
It's
see over
not.
the next few years, but who knows where things are going to be over the next few years because like I feel like this has changed over the last 3 to 4 years
Yeah.
is where it popped up because I wasn't seeing this stuff back in 2020 to maybe early 2022. It was mid to late 2022 is when I started seeing people
yeah,
say this type of stuff. Um, but I wanted to circle around because I'm curious because like I wanted to talk about like what are y'all doing differently on the marketing side? Like I know Jeff, you're obviously
mm,
going about it a different way. I mean, Austin, I think you do more, I would say more education is what I see more than anything and more talking about like consultations and stuff. But I'm curious, what do you think has changed? I obviously do the same thing I have always done, which is either A, don't post, B, post before and after and post a testimonial, and then pray and hope to God people find it. That, to
yeah,
be honest with you, it still works for me, which is why, as much as Jeff, as like for 2 years, you told me you need to post. Austin, you're still on me about posting. I still don't do it because I truly hate social media, but it's also because my formula of just doing a good job, being respectful to everyone, continuing to pray and lean on God with it, and just respecting everyone still works out. Like I had a guy sign up last month. He found a client. It was Michael Greenwood from back in 21. Dude, I haven't talked to that client. Like Austin, you remember him because you sent him
Yeah,
to me.
yeah.
I haven't talked to that guy in years. And
I
that
do
is an
remember him.
old testimonial. And that's not even the final before and after. It was like one we did 6 weeks in. And he happened to find it because Michael had posted a video of him. He found him on Instagram, saw, oh, this guy's in shape, circled through his Instagram, found me tagged on it, reached out to me. And then that's how he became a client, which is why I still stand by. Like, posting before and afters when I feel like doing it, sharing stuff from clients, being positive and praying about it. And I know it's not right because I know both y'all look at me square in the face and say you probably should do a little bit different. But at least for me, it works well enough that I'm not having to run myself ragged being on social media, which I absolutely despise. And I think it's like the worst thing ever. But I'm
mm,
curious because I obviously do something very different than you guys do, which is again, don't post or post the same BS I've posted since 2014.
yeah.
Nothing's changed.
Well, I think like in terms of what I do differently is now that I've, been through, that whole like ads training and everything, I've learned that there is a strategy around the scaling portion of this business. But everything that I had been doing up until this point is still correct.
Yeah.
And my track record and my business growth and my revenue and client results and all of that, attest to the fact that, showing up every day on stories, showing my personality, even though some people might not like my personality at times, it's okay. I'm very unique, right? And to show that uniqueness and not just be, an educational drone that is just polished and just delivering, clean content, that's actually unattractive to people. People like the messy realness of another human being, right? And they connect to that. And that's a lot of the reason behind my growth is like my just unhinged behavior sometimes. Like people like that. Obviously you gotta, clean it up a little bit, right? But what I've done differently, with the ads is, going off of that know, like, trust model. I've been putting out a lot of like lifestyle or like my opinion on this or that content on my Instagram, and I'll boost those posts and I'll just put like, 10, 15, $20 behind each post and just let it run perpetually. And the thing is about Facebook ads is that it's not that you're spending $20 a day. You spend up to that amount if the engagement is
Reaches that.
is reached.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're saying that like you're setting an ad budget basically that you can reach up to that many people for this cost for this amount of time frame, right? So all of so this is where it ties into like top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. Top of funnel is like the large pool of people that don't know you. Middle of funnel knows you a little bit warmer, right? And then bottom of the funnel are the people that are like, yeah, I'm gonna sign up like pretty soon. Okay. And so you can use Meta to, just like spam like with birdshot, basically, people who don't know you. And be like, huh, who's this guy talking about HRT? Or who's this guy complaining about this or that? Huh, kind of like his style, his tone. I'm gonna follow him. So my followers went from 6,000 to last night I surpassed 9,000 something followers. So 3,000 organic followers gained in the time span of like, let's say 2 months. And so then what I do is in Meta, there is a way to retarget people. So anyone who has clicked on your profile, looked at your profile, commented, liked anything within 180 days or 365 days, you can stack them as parameters for your ads. So I run ads that are then targeted to my demographic, women over 40 who have these problems with gut, thyroid, they can't sleep, can't poop, whatever, then that content gets hit to them if they've interacted with a prior post. And then I have a low ticket offer, my one-time plan as a bottom of the funnel thing. So I'm hitting top, I'm hitting middle, and I'm hitting bottom. So like in October, for example, I had 104 leads, and the leads are still coming in at a point of like 20 to 30 a day that I had to hire a setter and a closer to actually talk to them, and they close the clients for me.
And the so I've ran a handful of ads more recently this year and with far less strategy, albeit I'll
Yeah,
say. But I've kind of noticed the same thing as my thought process there was similar to yours, is that, and to your point, you're saying top of funnel is really cold lead,
cold. Yeah, they
right?
have no idea you exist. They don't know what online coaching is. They don't know if they have a problem.
So from middle to bottom of funnel, I feel very, very proficient. Like I can get people to trust me and like me. And once they're ready to sign up, they generally sign up,
Yeah,
right? Like no issue with that,
right,
right? Without any ads at
right.
all. So top of funnel, expanding that is like, okay, well, just like you said, birdshot. I love that I love that analogy. It's just like you're just kind of throwing it out there and seeing what you hit. And I noticed that. I just noticed that there were more of those things and they slowly manifested into obviously inquiries and signups later because a lot of that's not instantaneous. You know what I mean? It's not like you're not
No, it's
selling a
not.
product that someone's going to sign up for you. They're not going to click it and then go buy the product, right? You're not
Mhm.
running a sale on them, whatever, whatever.
No.
So it's still a slow build, but everyone knows generally social media leads aren't instantaneous anyhow. They
No.
take months, sometimes years even
Yes.
in some
Yes.
cases to fully develop. And so to your point, I think that's very cool insight. But like I said, I haven't done any of like the retargeting or any of that. I've just kind of thrown some of that stuff out there. And even that I've noticed some some good upside, I think, on that.
Yeah.
But the key in there is you have to be good at what you do and you have to be able to, foster that middle and bottom of funnel.
Well, so this is a funny story, I'll tell you, right? So in the program that I was in, I know there are several coaches in there that I know that are making upwards of $200,000 a month in their program. There's a couple that are 300 to 400K per month, which is insane to talk about those numbers, right?
It's like
But
five
they
million
are
dollars a
real.
year.
It's not bullshit. And they run like it's not just a singular coach, like you and Trey, right? And you have, what, Matt and Aaron
Matt and
as
Aaron,
well,
yeah.
right? It's me and Eric, but these coaches have like a massive team of like 20 to 30 coaches. They have like five setters, five closers, they're paying for systems, so their overhead is massive as well. But their revenue, their top line revenue is also massive, right? But you'd be like, I was shocked because I mentor some of these coaches now that they don't know how to set up a carb cycle. They don't know the female menstrual cycle. They don't
Holy
know
moly.
how to refeed somebody within the context of a diet. And because they haven't been exposed to any of that stuff, right? Because remember, this is a new world that we're in. These are young 20 something year old like Gymshark wearing like kids that bought a $2,000 camera to film themselves bench pressing before they could bench press 2 plates per side. That's the culture now, okay? And we can rag on them all we want because we're older. We're like, huh, you can't even bench 315. Well, they're like, huh, you don't make 300K a month? Well, screw you, you old dog. So it's like just generations, right? But well, to your point, these kids, like, they know how to market. They know the social media game way better than any of us, right? It's a different world now, but they've got a lot of churn. So, like you said, the middle of the funnel and bottom of the funnel, they got top of funnel all day coming in. But once they're in the program, clients are stuck. They're stagnating, they're plateauing, and they don't know how to fix it. And so
So
they leave, and then next month, that 300K that they made the last month starts at zero, and they have to prospect and sell all over again.
all over again.
And that is very mentally and emotionally wearing.
So there was a team, and I won't cite anyone specific, but there was a team that I mentored, and I want to say there was like five or six, maybe eight coaches at the time. And there's
Yeah.
been a few of these, so I'm not giving away who it is because there's
Yeah,
been
yeah,
some.
yeah.
But and this was a few years ago. This was kind of at the early stages of exactly what you're talking about. And I know they were doing I know the revenue was a lot. All right. Long story short, all the coaches on the team dissolved. It completely fell apart. The guy turned out to be a complete fucking scam, basically.
Oh, God.
And because as these coaches were mentoring with me, they realized they didn't know anything and they weren't actually able to service the clients. And they're like, this guy that's running this team is a sham. Like he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
And they felt very disingenuous. They felt very like they felt the imposter syndrome. Could you imagine, right? They're like,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
the hell? And I'm just trying to help, man. I didn't know any of that at the beginning. I had
yeah.
no idea. I didn't know the full story. But that kind of reminds me of these scenarios you're talking about. And it's like you wonder how long they'll be around. And I guess if you make 300K for a couple years, you probably doesn't matter if you're around much longer than that if you invest your money.
Right.
Uh, I suppose you'll be fine. But you probably assume their lifestyles are probably fairly lavish too, I would imagine.
They're very lavish lifestyles. Yeah.
I would assume they're probably spending it as quick as it's coming in too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So I don't know. I mentor
yeah.
some of them at least, like, and they get, the thing is, it's like I mentor some of them and they're like, oh my God, my client just lost like 7 pounds in a week doing your carb cycle. I was like, that's how it should be.
Oh God.
It's not even groundbreaking stuff. It's like stuff that I knew from like reading like intensemuscle.com or something.
Yep. The amount of people that I've mentored and there might be some that I still mentor that make a lot more money than me.
Right.
And it's not like, and I don't make pennies, I do well. So,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of them.
I mean, like I've told some of them, like I've told some of these like clients of mine because they're my mentees, right? I'm just like I can't help but feel just a little jealous that here I am teaching you how to coach your clients, and you make like 3 times what I do. Make
Yeah.
that make sense.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense. That's the fact of the matter. But here we are. I
So
try not to think about that stuff too much.
yeah.
I try to just block that out of my mind.
Otherwise, I'll think myself into like an angry frenzy.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, I'm just gonna pretend that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, that's our business now. That's just how the industry is. I don't know when things will shift again in a different direction, but you know,
Maybe they
there's
will.
clients to help. There's money to be made.
Yeah, people will. It's shifting. It's already shifting slowly.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think that was great. I didn't know what we were uh, going to get
That was
into.
completely off the cuff and just, what we have been feeling. So,
We
yeah.
all needed, I think we all needed that. And truthfully, I think that will resonate with people a lot.